Bruce Lee is sitting at a restaurant table with his wife Linda when a waiter makes a comment about her being with a Chinese man. Bruce responds in 5 seconds. Not with violence, not with anger, with something that changes the waiter's entire understanding of respect, dignity, and what it means to be a man. What happens in those 5 seconds doesn't just end a confrontation, it teaches a lesson the waiter carries for the rest of his life. Los Angeles, 1969, Saturday evening, 7:30. A high-end steakhouse in West Hollywood, the kind of place with white tablecloths and leather booths and waiters in bow ties, the kind of place where a meal costs what most people make in a day. Bruce and Linda have been married for 5 years. They have 2 kids at home with a babysitter. Brandon is 4. Shannon is a few months old. This is their first dinner out alone in 6 months. A chance to breathe, to be Bruce and Linda instead of mom and dad, to remember why they fell in love in the first place. They're dressed up. Bruce in a dark suit. Simple, clean, no tie. Linda in a blue dress she bought specifically for tonight. Her blonde hair is down. She's wearing lipstick. Feels good to dress up, to feel like adults instead of parents covered in spit up and exhaustion. They're celebrating. Bruce just signed a contract for a small role in Marlowe, a film with James Garner. It's not the lead. It's not even a supporting role, but it's a Hollywood film, a real Hollywood production. After years of grinding, after The Green Hornet got canceled, after guest spots and rejection and doors closing because he's too Chinese, finally, a step forward, a reason to celebrate. The restaurant is busy. Saturday night crowd, couples on dates, business dinners, anniversary celebrations. The lighting is dim, romantic, candles on every table. Jazz plays quietly in the background, the kind of place where conversations are intimate, where you lean in close, where the world outside doesn't matter. Bruce and Linda are tucked into a corner booth, private, perfect. They're holding hands across the table, talking about nothing important, about Brandon's new obsession with dinosaurs, about Shannon's laugh, about maybe taking a vacation, maybe Hawaii, maybe just the 2 of them. Dream planning, the kind of conversation that feels good just to have. A waiter approaches, mid-30s, white, slicked back hair, that professional waiter posture, shoulders back, chin up, practiced smile. He's carrying menus, 2 leather-bound menus with gold lettering. He stops at their table. The smile doesn't reach his eyes. There's something off about his energy, something cold beneath the professionalism. He sets the menus down, one in front of Linda, one in front of Bruce, but his eyes linger on Linda, then flick to Bruce, then back to Linda, assessing, judging, making calculations about what he's seeing. His voice is perfectly polite, surface level. The words are professional. But the tone carries something else, something sharp, something meant to cut without leaving a visible wound. He says good evening, says welcome to Laurie's, says he'll be taking care of them tonight. But the emphasis on taking care of you when he looks at Linda feels loaded. Feels like he's implying Bruce can't take care of her, that she needs someone else, someone better, someone white. So Bruce notices. Of course he notices. He's spent his entire life reading body language, reading intention beneath words. It's what makes him a great martial artist, the ability to see what's coming before it arrives, to read the setup before the attack. He sees the waiter's microaggressions, the slight curl of the lip, the judgment in the eyes, the way his posture shifts when he looks at Bruce versus when he looks at Linda. Bruce sees all of it, but he doesn't react, not yet, just watches, waits, gives the benefit of the doubt. Maybe he's imagining it, maybe he's oversensitive after years of racism. Maybe this is just a waiter doing his job. Linda notices too. She's been with Bruce long enough to recognize the signs, the looks, the comments, the microaggressions that people think are subtle but aren't. She's experienced it herself. The questions about why she's with a Chinese man. The concern from her family, the stares when they walk down the street holding hands, the assumption that she's with him for exotic thrill. Instead of love, she's heard it all, developed thick skin, but it still stings, still makes her angry, still makes her want to stand up and yell that she loves her husband and everyone else can go to hell. The waiter asks if they'd like to start with drinks. Bruce orders water. Linda orders white wine. The waiter writes this down, says he'll be right back, walks away. His demeanor shifts the moment he turns his back. The professional posture drops. His shoulders relax, like he just finished performing a distasteful task. Bruce and Linda look at each other. Don't say anything. Don't need to. They both felt it. Both know what just happened, but they're here to celebrate. Here to enjoy a rare night out. They're not going to let one ignorant waiter ruin it. The waiter returns with drinks, sets Linda's wine down gently, carefully, makes sure it doesn't spill, sets Bruce's water down with less care. The glass hits the table harder than necessary. Water sloshes slightly, not enough to spill, just enough to make a point. The waiter asks if they're ready to order, or if they need more time. Bruce says they need a few minutes. The waiter nods, says take your time, walks away. Again that shift, that dropping of the mask, that visible relief at not having to serve them. Linda's jaw is tight. She's trying to stay calm, trying not to let it get to her. But Bruce can see the hurt in her eyes, can see her trying to convince herself it's nothing, that she's being too sensitive, that maybe the waiter is just having a bad day. Bruce reaches across the table, takes her hand, squeezes, gives her a look that says, I see it too. You're not imagining it. We're okay. We're here together and that's what matters. They look at the menu. The prices are insane. $20 steaks. In 1969, that's a fortune. But tonight they're celebrating. Tonight money doesn't matter. Bruce jokes that they could buy groceries for a month with what one steak costs. Linda laughs. The tension breaks. They decide what to order. Prime rib for Bruce. Filet mignon for Linda. They're ready. The waiter returns, pulls out a small notepad, pen ready, with hands, as they've decided. But he directs the question only to Linda. Doesn't look at Bruce. Doesn't acknowledge Bruce is there. Linda feels it, feels the deliberate exclusion. She starts to order, says she'll have the filet mignon, medium rare. The waiter writes this down, nods, says excellent choice. Then he looks at Linda and says, and what will your companion be having? Companion, not husband, not date. Companion. The word hangs in the air like a slur. The implication is clear. Bruce isn't her husband, isn't her equal, is something else, something lesser, something temporary, a companion, like a dog, like a pet, like something she'll get tired of eventually. The word is chosen carefully, designed to insult without being obvious enough to complain about, designed to make Bruce feel small without giving him ammunition to fight back. The table goes silent. Linda's face flushes. Anger, embarrassment, fury at this man for disrespecting her husband, fury at herself for not saying something sooner. She opens her mouth, about to correct him, about to say my husband will have, about to put this waiter in his place. But Bruce squeezes her hand gently. A signal. I've got this. Let me handle it. Deal. Bruce looks up at the waiter. His face is calm, completely calm. No anger, no visible reaction, just looks at him. Eye contact. Direct, unwavering. The kind of eye contact that makes people uncomfortable, that forces them to really see you, to acknowledge you as human, as equal, as worthy of basic respect. Bruce holds that eye contact for 2 seconds, just 2 seconds. But those 2 seconds feel like an eternity to the waiter. He shifts his weight, uncomfortable, realizes he just said something he shouldn't have, realizes he might be in trouble. Then Bruce speaks. His voice is quiet, so quiet the waiter has to lean in to hear, but every word is clear. Every word lands with precision. Bruce says her husband will have the prime rib, medium rare. And her husband would appreciate if you spoke to both of us with the same respect. You'd want someone to show your own family. 5 seconds. That's all it takes. 5 seconds from the waiter saying companion to Bruce finishing his sentence. 5 seconds to completely shift the power dynamic at this table. 5 seconds to teach a lesson without raising his voice, without threatening, without violence. Just 5 seconds of quiet dignity and direct truth. The waiter's face goes white, then red. Embarrassment floods his features. He realizes his mask slipped, realizes his racism showed, realizes he just disrespected Bruce Lee. Maybe he doesn't know who Bruce is. Maybe he does, doesn't matter. He realizes he just insulted a man in front of his wife, a man who had every right to make a scene, to demand a manager, to embarrass him back, but didn't. Instead, Bruce gave him something worse. Truth, mirror, made him see his own ugliness reflected back. The waiter stammers, says he's sorry, says he didn't mean, says it came out wrong. Making excuses, trying to save face. But the damage is done, the truth is out. He was disrespectful. He was racist. He was trying to make Bruce feel small, and instead made himself look small. Bruce just nods. Doesn't accept the apology, doesn't reject it, just acknowledges it. The waiter writes down the order. His hand is shaking slightly, says he'll put this in right away. Hurries away from the table. Linda looks at Bruce with something between admiration and fury. Admiration for how he handled it. Fury that he had to handle it at all. Fury that this is their life, that they can't go to a nice dinner without someone making it about race. Without someone questioning their relationship, without someone deciding Bruce isn't good enough for her because of the shape of his eyes and the color of his skin. Bruce sees her anger, understands it, shares it, but he's learned something over the years. Learned that anger without control just makes things worse, makes the racist feel justified, makes the situation escalate. Makes the evening end with police and headlines and everyone talking about the angry Chinese man who couldn't control himself. So Bruce controls himself. Not because he's weak, because he's strong, because real strength is choosing not to destroy someone when you easily could. They sit in silence for a moment, processing, breathing, trying to get back to where they were before. Back to celebration. Back to romance. Back to being Bruce and Linda instead of Asian man and white woman and all the baggage that comes with it. It's hard. The moment is ruined. The waiter poisoned their evening. But they're not going to let him win. Not going to let him take this night from them. The waiter returns with bread, sets it down gently, carefully, makes eye contact with both of them this time. Says again that he's sorry, that he had no right, that it won't happen again. Bruce just nods. Linda says thank you. The waiter leaves. This time his posture is different, smaller, humbler, like he's actually thinking about what he did. The meal comes. It's excellent. Perfectly cooked. Beautifully presented. They eat mostly in silence. The conversation doesn't flow like before. The magic of the evening is broken, but they're together. They're supporting each other. That matters. When they finish, Bruce pays. Leaves a normal tip, not generous, not stingy, just appropriate. Makes a point. You don't get rewarded for racism, but you don't get punished beyond the shame you already earned. As they're leaving, the waiter approaches. Nervous. Says he wants to apologize again. Says he's been thinking about what Bruce said. About treating people the way you'd want your family treated. Says his own daughter is dating someone his family doesn't approve of. Someone from a different background. Says he's been making her life hell about it. Says Bruce's words hit him. It's made him see what he's doing. Made him see his own hypocrisy. Bruce stops, looks at the waiter. Really looks at him. Sees a man struggling. A man raised with certain beliefs trying to unlearn them. A man who made a mistake and is trying to be better. Bruce asks the waiter's name. The waiter says Jim. Bruce extends his hand, says Jim. Everyone deserves a chance to grow, to be better than they were yesterday. You made a mistake tonight. You recognized it. That's the first step. The next step is doing better, treating everyone with dignity, teaching your daughter that love matters more than what other people think. Jim shakes Bruce's hand. His eyes are wet. He thanks Bruce, says he won't forget this, says he's going to call his daughter tonight, going to apologize to her, going to meet her boyfriend, going to be the father she deserves instead of the father his parents taught him to be. Bruce nods, tells Jim to take care. Bruce and Linda walk out into the night. 3 weeks later, Bruce gets a letter, addressed to him at his home. Return address is Laurie's. He opens it. It's from Jim, the waiter. 2 pages handwritten, thanking Bruce, explaining that he called his daughter that night, that he apologized, that he met her boyfriend, that they're good people in love just like Jim and his wife were when they were young, that he almost lost his daughter because of his prejudice, that Bruce saved that relationship by showing him what respect actually looks like. Jim writes that he's been a waiter for 15 years, that he's served thousands of people, that he's had his own prejudices his whole life. Small ones, quiet ones, the kind that don't seem like a big deal until someone holds up a mirror, that Bruce held up that mirror, that 5 seconds of dignity taught him more than 50 years of living, that he's trying to be better, that he's catching himself when prejudice creeps in, that he's teaching his kids differently than he was taught. Jim ends the letter by saying he knows Bruce is famous, that after that night he looked Bruce up, watched the Green Hornet, watched his martial arts demonstrations, that he's amazed and honored that someone so talented and skilled responded to his disrespect with such grace, that most men would have made a scene, would have gotten him fired, would have humiliated him. But Bruce chose to teach instead of destroy, chose to give him a chance to be better. And that choice changed his life. Bruce shows Linda the letter. She cries, happy tears, relieved tears, validation that the pain they experience constantly isn't for nothing, that sometimes moments of indignity can become moments of teaching, that Bruce's restraint wasn't weakness, was strategy, was planting a seed that grew into something better. 20 years later, Bruce is gone. Linda is raising Brandon and Shannon alone, navigating grief and single parenthood, and keeping Bruce's legacy alive. She gets a call. A man named Jim says he doesn't know if she remembers him, says he was a waiter at Laurie's in 1969, says he disrespected her and Bruce, says Bruce changed his life that night, says he's sorry for calling out of the blue, but his daughter just got engaged to the man Jim once objected to because of his background. They're getting married. They want to name their first son Bruce, after the man who saved their family. Jim wants Linda to know, wants her to know that Bruce's impact went beyond films, beyond martial arts, that 5 seconds in a restaurant in 1969 rippled forward into grandchildren and changed lives and love that exists because Bruce chose dignity over destruction. Linda thanks Jim, tells him Bruce would be honored, tells him that Bruce believed everyone deserves a chance to grow, that mistakes don't define us. Our response to mistakes defines us. Jim made a mistake, recognized it, changed because of it. That's all Bruce ever wanted, for people to be better tomorrow than they are today. The conversation ends. Linda hangs up, sits with the weight of it. Bruce has been gone 20 years, but he's still teaching, still changing lives, still proving that real power isn't in your fists. It's in your words, your dignity, your willingness to give people room to become better. 5 seconds in 1969 became a lifetime of change for Jim, became a relationship saved, became grandchildren named Bruce, became proof that how we respond to hate determines whether hate continues or dies. How many Jims are in your life right now? How many people disrespecting you or others out of ignorance instead of malice? And when that happens, do you destroy or do you teach? Do you humiliate or do you give space for growth? Because 5 seconds of dignity can change someone's entire life, can break cycles of prejudice, can save relationships, can plant seeds that grow into grandchildren named after you. Bruce understood that, chose teaching over destroying, chose dignity over anger, chose 5 seconds of truth over 5 seconds of violence, and those 5 seconds rippled forward into decades, into generations, into proof that real strength is giving people a chance to be better even when they don't deserve it, especially when they don't deserve it, because that's when change happens. When someone expects punishment and receives grace instead, when someone deserves humiliation and receives teaching instead, that's power, that's legacy, that's 5 seconds that echo forever.